Hello everyone! Welcome to day 12 of our November daily draw. My name is Miss Casey with Fibo Kids Art Academy, and today the word that we are going to be drawing is apple. So we are going to be drawing, as you can see here on my table, an apple with a very furry friend underneath, a little hedgehog. So to do this drawing, we're going to do the drawing together, and then I'm going to be coloring it in with some chalk pastel and color pencil. However, you can color it however you'd like. All right, so let's go ahead and get ourselves started. We want to take out a piece of paper. Now for your piece of paper, this can be any piece of paper, or if you've been using a sketchbook so far for your daily draws, you can go ahead and use that. And then at the very top of our paper, we're going to number it number 12. Again, this is our day 12 daily draw. Now for our drawing, you want to make sure that you are using a pencil. So go ahead and grab that out. But I'm going to be using a Sharpie so you can see my lines better on your screen. Now for this picture, there are going to be a few lines we are going to need to erase. So just pay attention to that. I'll be pointing them out and showing you which lines those are. So let's go ahead and start by drawing the apple at the top of our paper. So the apple is going to be sitting on top of our hedgehog's head, so we want to draw that first. Now to draw our apple, we're going to start on the left side, and we want to draw a curved line like a letter C that comes in a little bit closer in at the bottom. So rather than being really big at the bottom and top, we're going to have it a little bit smaller at the bottom. And then you're going to go ahead and at the top curve that down like a letter U, and then bring that right back up with another curved line over on the right, and then bringing that again in as you get to the bottom. So it should be bigger at the top than it is at the bottom. And then once you reach the bottom, you can go ahead and make a rainbow line. And there is our apple shape. Now we're going to add a few more details. So down in the middle at the top, you want to add a curved line like a letter U. And then from that curved line, you're going to go ahead and add in a stem, which is going to be thinner at the bottom than it is at the top, and finish it off with an oval for the top of the stem. Now, of course, we have a line from the back of our apple going through our stem. So you can go ahead and take your eraser now and erase that line inside of our stem. It might be a little hard for you to see there, but I've tried highlighting it. And then once you have that line erased, you can go ahead and add in an extra stem for a leaf that's attached to your apple. And then you can go ahead and draw the top and bottom of that leaf. And if it comes over the top of your apple a little bit, just make sure to erase so that way the leaf looks like it is over the apple. You want to erase any lines inside your leaf and extend that vein stem line in the middle. Now once you have that apple and the details, next we're going to add in the hedgehog. So for the body shape, we're going to go and add an oval about the same size as our apple. Hedgehogs are usually small animals, so we want to try to make it and keep it small. So underneath the apple, you're just going to draw an oval shape that comes down and around right up to the bottom of your paper, and then curve it around to touch the right side of your apple. Then once you have that oval for the hedgehog shape, we're going to go in and add the ears. So at the top on the left side of the apple, you're going to go and add a curved line that comes up, and then bringing it down and curving it in to the inside of the head. And you'll do the same thing on the right side. Curved line that comes up for the ear, and then curve it down and in for the right side. Now once you have those ears, if you've already started, then great job. But friends, we want to erase that line that goes inside the ears. So I'm highlighting it for you, but go ahead and make sure to erase it right inside of those ears. And then we can add in a couple of ear details. So now that we have the ear shape, you're just going to go right inside and make a smaller ear shape right along the edge for both ears. Okay, now once you have those ear shapes, then we're going to come down into the middle of the face, or the middle of the head, and add the face. Now, for the eyes, you can draw your eyes however you'd like. You can make them look a little bit more realistic or even more cute, maybe big oval eyes, big circle eyes, however you'd like to draw the eyes. But for me, I'm going to draw a curved line for the top of my eye on the left and a curved line for the top of my eye on the right. Now, once I have those curved lines, I'm going to go ahead and curve it down over to the bottom on the left and the right as well. And then I'm going to add an extra curved line on the inside. And then another curve like a letter C right inside of that. And 2 eye sparkles for the eyes, inside the eyes. Now if you want, again, you can make it look a little cute. Maybe add in some eyelashes. Maybe an extra line at the top. And then once you have those eyes, and again, you can have made your eyes however you want. Once you've drawn in those eyes, you're going to go right in the middle and add in the nose. Now for your nose, you're going to have a rainbow line for the top, and then bring it down and have a little like curved line in the middle. And then for the mouth, we're just going to come right underneath the nose and draw a curved line like a letter U, kind of like a mouth. And then on the ends of that mouth, you're going to bring it up like a rainbow. Now, once you have the eyes, the nose, and the mouth, next we're going to add in some extra detail. So at the top, we have a little bit of, well, hedgehogs actually have a lot of fur on the outside of their bodies. But since we're looking at the inside, the front, where the face and tummy are, there's not much hair. So we want to show where the hair stops. So at the top, in between the ears, we're going to draw a curved line that comes down toward the middle, and then do the same thing on the right. So you want it to come down to a point. Then you're going to come on the side next to the ear on the left, and you're going to draw a curved line that comes around on the left, and same thing for the right. Curve around on the right, and that's going to be, again, where the a line to show where the hair of our hedgehog or the fur ends. And then right in the middle, you want to add a little like rainbow line. And again, that's going to show where that hair ends. So now that we have those lines, and they're mainly going to be guidelines. We're not really going to see these lines specifically in our drawing once we start coloring, but we want to show them for now so we know where to add our texture in those hairlines. So now that we have those lines, we know where the face and the tummy start. We're going to add in the feet and the arms or the hands. So for the legs, we are going to start on the left side next to our line where the hair ends. And we're going to draw 3 backward C's that connect to each other. 1, 2, 3. Now for this last one, you're going to start at the top and bring that down and then curve it out to the left. And then attached to this right letter C on the right side, you're going to bring that down at the bottom, bring it lower than that left line, and then curve it out to the left. So that's going to be for the leg on the left side, and then we're going to do the same thing on the right. So we want to draw 3 letter C's, 1, 2, 3. And once you have those letter C's, we're going to just flip it. So on this left side here, we're going to bring that down and curve it out. And on the right side, we're going to bring it down and out again. So there we have our feet. And then we can also add in a little bit of the hands. We're not going to see the arms. The hands are just kind of curled up behind the feet. So we're going to see the top of the hands. You can draw little rainbow lines for the top and then bring them down with a couple of pointy lines for the claws or the fingers. Okay, now once you have the hands and the legs, that is going to be it for our drawing of our apple and then our furry hedgehog friend underneath. So now that we have that, one thing that I want to show you guys, we have all those lines that we need erased. However, what I do want you guys to do is along your pencil lines, these are all going to be guidelines. We do want to make some texture along those lines and no longer have those outlined guidelines. So in order to do that, rather than using your pencil, I want you to do this during your Sharpie step, but I'm going to go ahead and show you what that's going to look like, okay? So during your Sharpie step, I'm going to go ahead and bring out my pencil drawing so that way you guys can see what that will look like. So your picture should look like mine as it is now in pencil. We have our hedgehog, we have our apple. So when you go along your pencil lines, go ahead and grab out a Sharpie. As you start to outline all of your lines, you're going to outline everything. Go right on top of your pencil lines. Make sure you don't outline any of the lines you erased. Take your time. And then as you get to your hedgehog, for those guidelines or that oval where the hair is and the outside of the body is, rather than outlining it, you want to just go along the outer edge and add in some texture lines. So I'm just doing these diagonal lines that come down, look like hair, right along the outside of the body. And I'm doing that right along the edge of that oval that I did. So rather than outlining it completely, I'm adding in these short texture hairlines. Okay, and that's gonna give it more of a textured look, more realistic, so that way we don't have that harsh outline. Okay, now once you added that, you're gonna leave that pencil line there. Later on when you're done outlining, you can erase it and all you'll have left is this texture hairlines. Now you wanna do that as well on this part where the hair ends. So right inside, we'll start at the top of the head. You're gonna add in these textured lines on the top of the head, next to the ears. And then right in the middle, you can even go in down a little bit and add a few more texture lines down the middle. And then you want to do that on these side lines underneath the ears and at the bottom of the body. So again, go ahead and add in that texture line right along those lines. We don't need those lines. We're using them as guidelines. Okay, so once you have added in that texture, you can go ahead and continue outlining your lines to finish up your outlining step. Remember, if there's any lines you erase, you don't want to outline them. Your eyes might look a little different than mine depending on how you drew it, but just outline whatever you drew. Once you have all of those lines outlined, you can continue with your Sharpie, filling in any dark areas like around your eyes and eye sparkles. Let's forgot my eyelashes. And then also you would want to fill in the inside of the nose. And if you want, you can add in a little bit of a sparkle at the top of your nose, like a little shine, highlight. So once you're done filling in your eyes, you can add in a little oval at the top. Add in that little shine and fill in the rest of your nose. And then once you have those details outlined and filled in, that is it for our drawing and outlining step. So since I did the outlining step with you guys, hopefully you're on the same step as I am. However, if you do need a little bit more time outlining and adding in those details, you can go ahead and pause and then press play when you're ready to continue. But now that we are done outlining, if you are ready to continue with me, go ahead and grab out your coloring materials. I'm going to be starting with some chalk pastels, so if you are following along with me, you can grab out your chalk pastels as well. Okay, now first we're going to be coloring in our apple because that is the main focus of our picture today. So we're going to start with a red. However, if you want your apple to be a different color, that's totally fine. But I have my red here. And I'm going to start first by outlining around my edges with that red. So I'm going to go along the left, the bottom, the top, and the right, just outlining it. And then I'm going to go in and add a few more lines across the bottom. But I want to leave some space for a little highlight. So I'm just going along the bottom and in the middle, but I'm leaving some space white on the right and left. And then I'm also going to add in a little bit more color as well in the middle with a lighter orange. Okay, so that's about the end of what I'm going to be filling in with my red. Don't forget the top of your apple. Okay, so once you're done with that, you can put that red away. Now I'm going to take a little bit of my yellow orange here, add some of that color up at the top to get a little bit of a mix of color. And once I'm done with that, I have my two white spots, leaving those white. I'm going to take one finger and push in, press that chalk in along the edges so that way nothing really falls outside of my lines. And then I'm going to start to blend in my red areas first. You can use two fingers or one finger like I am, making sure that it stays nice and neat. And then you can push that color. Don't go too far into those white spaces. We want to leave them white. You can push that color, blend it into that lighter yellow-orange color. And then just push that color lightly to fill in a little bit of those white spaces so they're not too big, but you want them to stay pretty white. Okay, so there is my highlights and my added color to my apple here. If you want it a little bit lighter, you can even add a lighter color, maybe a yellow. Get that blended in. Okay, maybe you want a little bit of a darker color around your around the stem, a little dip in your stem, so you can add in a little bit of a darker color, maybe even a darker color where you want your shadows to be along the edges. So you can take that color, blend it in, get a little bit darker on one side, and then along the bottom of your stem. And then once you're done, you can go ahead and take your paper, tap it off onto the table. So I'm just going to turn it, tap it, that way nothing else falls outside of my apple. And now that my apple is colored in, next I'm going to take my brown and I'm going to fill in the stem. So I'm going to take my brown here, color in the top and just one side, my darker side for my stem. And then I'm going to take one finger, blend that in. So that way I have a dark and a lighter side. And then I'm going to take my green and fill in my leaf. Now if you're continuing with some shading, you can go ahead and make sure you have a lighter side of your leaf and then a darker side. And once you're done adding in that color, you can take your finger and blend that in and then shake off any extra color or dust. And then once you're done with your apple, next we will be coloring in the hedgehog. Now for the hedgehog, hedgehogs are usually like a gray/brown color. They have different color in their fur. So we'll go ahead and get to that. But if you happen to have dirty fingers, you don't want those fingerprints going all over your paper. So if you have a wipe or a clean wet paper towel next to you, you can go ahead and clean your hands, take a little clean break. And if you have any fingerprints or dirty edges, you can take an eraser, clean up some of those edges and fingerprints. Okay, so now for my hedgehog here, I'm actually going to take a brown, a little light brown, and I'm going to add very lightly some color into the outside fur of my hedgehog. Now I'm just adding in this color nice and lightly because I don't want it to be too dark. If instead of brown you would like to use some gray as your base color, you can do that. And then once you've added in that color, again, just take your finger and lightly push it in to the outside area of your hedgehog. Get that fur filled in. Go along the outer edges a little bit since you have some hair there. And then you can tap off that extra dust. Now for those black areas of my hair, I'm actually going to move over to my color pencil. So I'll leave the the color of the hair there for now. Then I'm going to take a little bit of gray and add in a little bit of color along the inside of the body. So I'm going to come along the center, inside of the eyes a little bit, across the top of the eyes, a little underneath the mouth, just a little bit light, nice and lightly. And then I'm also going to be adding right along the inner edge where the hair stops. I'm going to add in a little bit of color there as well. Okay, now once I've added in that gray, I'm going to take a clean finger and just lightly push that in to the middle. Get a nice little shaded area. Again, just lightly pushing it in. Okay, and then you can go ahead and tap off that extra dust, and you can see just a very light shaded area. And if you have a little bit too much gray in an area that you didn't want it in, you can take your eraser and erase it away. So you have more white in some areas, more gray in other areas. Okay, once you have that, you've shaded in the middle. Next, we can go ahead with to continue with our chalk pastels. We can go in and add a little bit of color to the inside of the ears and the cheeks if you want to make it super cute and have a little bit of rosy cheeks. So I'm going to take a pink here. And I'm going to lightly, again, I don't want to use my chalk pastels too heavily, so I'm going to lightly add in some color to the inside of the ear and then right along underneath the eye on the cheeks. If you don't want to do this with chalk pastel, you can also do it in your color pencils and just lightly fill that in. Let it fade away as it comes to the inside of the head, outside of the ear, and then lightly blend in the cheeks. Again, let that kind of fade away as it comes on the rest of the face. Okay, there is my rosy cheeks, the inside of my ears. And now I'm going to go ahead and also add in a little bit of light pink to the hands and feet. This is the bottom part of the hands and feet, so I have a little bit of pink there. If you don't want to make it pink, you can change it. You don't have to do it pink. You can do it with color pencil instead. That will be up to you. But once you have that, you are done with your chalk pastels, so you can go ahead and put them away. And next we can take our color pencils. Now for our color pencils, you can go ahead and take some color for the hair texture that we will be adding. So I have my color pencils here, and I'm going to be starting with my black, maybe even some gray, and even some brown. But with my black first, I'm going to follow along these Sharpie lines that I added for the hair. And in that same direction, I'm just going to go in and add a couple more hairlines right on top of the brown that I have. And just go in and add some more hair, some more texture. It's okay if some of your lines come over the apple a little bit. And as you can see, as you add in these lines, you don't want it to completely fill in the outer part of the hair. So that brown is really going to peek through and it will add in some extra color, which is nice. And if you want, you can switch over to a gray, add in even more color. And then you can also move over to a little bit of brown, make that brown really stand out. But if the brown from the base color is standing out, you don't have to add more brown with your colored pencil. And so as you can see, the difference between the top of my hedgehog and the bottom, adding those color pencils for texture and hair and fur really helps to make it stand out and look more like a hedgehog. So I'm going to continue doing that into the rest of my hedgehog's body and fur, just adding those fur lines, going in the same direction that I did with my Sharpie when I went around the guidelines. Short diagonal lines for that texture. And as you get into these bigger areas, you can start to do thicker and longer lines. Whatever works for you, whatever you like best. You can even have some of the lines come outside of the body, even though you already have that outlined with your Sharpie. That's okay. You can add in those extra lines. So again, you're just going all around the body, adding in those fur lines. And you can go in with multiple colors. It doesn't just have to be black. You can do some gray. And I'll show you here in a bit. You can also go back in and get a little bit of white back into your fur as well. And you can do that by using a by using an eraser, because both chalk and color pencils can be erased, not completely, but it can actually help lighten up some areas. So I'm going to go in with my gray a little bit, add in some more color, fill in some of those empty spaces that I don't want to be fully brown. And I'm not doing as much as I did with my black from before, just going in, filling in some of those empty areas. Okay, and like I was saying for the white spaces, as you can see, you kind of already see a little bit of white, but you can even continue that with the back of your eraser and add in a few more little white spaces. Again, you're not going to completely get white back into your picture, but it is going to help lighten up some of those areas. If you do want to have a little bit more variety, get some lighter areas of hair texture. So you can definitely do that as well. And then you can also bring in some of that hair detail into the middle of the body. Okay, inside the middle, in between the eyes, under the eyes a little bit, the top of the eyes, a little bit with your gray, maybe underneath the mouth a little bit, add in some fur or just a little bit of color. Okay, you can even go in, add a little bit of fur lines inside your ear if you want with your gray, or if you want it to be a little bit lighter, again, go in with your pencil, or your eraser, I mean. Make it some areas a little bit lighter. And same thing for your highlight in your apple. If you didn't really get to get that as light as you wanted, you can take your eraser and erase away wherever you want that highlight to be. and that will really stand out if you want to highlight on your stem or on your leaf. You can also do that with your eraser as well. Okay, so that is going to be the end of our daily draw for today. I hope you guys had a lot of fun making our little apple and hedgehog friend. And this time is definitely a great time to go apple picking with some friends, family. I know we can't really do much in large groups around this time, but I hope you guys definitely have a lot of fun. Apples are in season right now, so go get some apples, make some fun apple cider, apple pie, anything you can come up with for apples and have fun. So thank you guys for joining in with our daily draw today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please make sure to share your artwork with us and come back again for another daily draw. My name is Miss Casey, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.